Hello and welcome to Edupedia World. So right here we are looking at a cube, and let's say that we are doing some kind of a design where we want 1000 cubes. You could go in, start cloning, and when you've gotten to 5 cubes like this, you realize that you are wasting your life making 1000 cubes manually. So thankfully Cinema 4D, or Maxon as they call them, the guys who make this program, they realized before you that making 1000 cubes by hand is not optimal. So they created a tool called the cloner, and it's very cool. If you go up into MoGraph, you can add a cloner. So just click cloner and you can drag whatever you want to be cloned inside the cloner, and you will see something pretty cool right here. The color of the objects that are being cloned changes from this normal gray to this white one. As you can see right now, you're doing a linear clone, and it's iterating, blah blah blah. It's cloned 3 times, and each time it clones, it moves the next clone 50 centimeters upwards. If we increase this, you'll be able to see, oh, they're actually individual cubes. That's because these guys have a width of 200, so you need to be above 200 before you can see some kind of separation. So let's put this to 0 and instead clone in the X direction. Let's clone 210 centimeters, and let's see, we can turn up the count. Right now we are, let's put it at 40, and right now we have cloned 40 times in that direction. You can see that we can, instead of cloning in just one linear direction, we can clone in a radial, and if we change the radius, you'll be able to see how that works. You can clone it like around like this. You can do a grid array like this. Add some more objects, and this way you can pretty quickly reach 1000 cubes. For this to look nice, okay, we've already got ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion makes the small lines that come in between the cubes. Ambient occlusion makes that pop a bit. So if we were to add a light like this, move it off to the side a bit, we can see that these cubes actually look pretty cool together. And there we go. We can see all this black coming from the ambient occlusion. We can try and turn it off, and you can see this is what we've got. They're almost like a fake white. If we enable ambient occlusion, they're a bit more dark, and also if we add the area shadow, it's much nicer. And it's even nicer if you set this to 70%. There we go. So now let's try and create a lot of cubes. We can create a grid array. If we put the Y here to just 1, it will only be like 1 grid. If we put this to, let's say, 40 and then 40 over here, and we start scaling this up until we see a little bit of separation, there it is. We can scale this down until there's just a very slight separation. Copy this and add it over here as well, and now you'll see this large cube array, or whatever you can call it. let's just go in like this and render, and there we go. This looks pretty cool in my opinion. So as you can see, this is all just made from one cube. If I were to press C to make it an editable object, and then select the object and start scaling it like this, you'll see that all the objects will move along, and this lags a bit. It's pretty laggy. I will take all the cubes and make them a bit taller like this, and then I will try to use a cloner modifier. So I'll have this selected, go into MoGraph Effector, oh sorry, it's called an MoGraph Effector. I will use random, and boom, as you see, this basically means that for each clone there will be a bit of randomness. So I can pick this thing called random, and then I can change what it does. So right now I wanted to change the position, but I only wanted to change the Y position, so I'll just put these guys to 0, and right now it will only be moving the objects up and down, and I think it's moving them up and down way too much. I'll just decrease and just let it sit right there. Let's try and do another render. In my opinion, this looks a bit nicer. Let's actually put this light so it's shining on the squares from like a bit of an angle like this, and then render from here. And there you go. Now it's much nicer. This actually gave me an idea. Let's put this down, and let's try and get some long shadows. Oh, this looks very cool. Let's try and put it down even lower. This is awesome. Wow, this looks so cool. Let's try and change the color of the light. So we can do. Let's try this green color. Oh, that's bad. There we go. We've got a pretty cool color, and this is just made from one simple cube. Let us just try and do one more thing. I will just disable all of this and create a camera so I can keep my position, and then I will do something I will go into the surface option so I can see I can pick this surface, and then I will do a bit of modeling just like this. Just create a little indent in this cube like that. Go back to my camera, enable the light, enable all of this, render once again, and wow, now there's a lot of detail. It's almost too much. I don't know if it was a good idea to do that. Let me just try and change it a bit. So actually, see, this actually looks pretty cool in my opinion. You can of course decide on your own, but this was just to show how you can use the cloner tool in Cinema 4D. I did something called polygon modeling right here. I'll be going into that much more in later videos when we talk about real subdivision modeling. So that's a bit more advanced, and therefore I won't be talking about that right now. But the last thing we want to cover in this video will be deformers. So yeah, we can start off with let's just take a plane, and make it a little bit thinner. Add some more segments to this side, the long side, and there we go. This should be good. We will press C to make it into an editable object, and then we want to use some of these modifiers. There are a lot of different modifiers, and they can be used to do cool things like wind, all that stuff. Let's just do a simple one called bend. So when you add a modifier, you basically add this weird box. So to know which direction it's working in, it's actually easiest to just start using it. So you can add some strength and you can see what it does. Basically takes this cube, and then whatever is inside will be bended with the cube. I'll take this cube and rotate it onto the side, and I'll rotate it this way. That way it's bending this direction. I will increase this size and decrease that, like that, and decrease this, decrease this, decrease this, and there you go. Now it's fitted over this plane. I can take the bend modifier and add it underneath the plane, and that's how you know it's going to act on the plane. So if I change the strength, as you can see, it's actually bending the plane with it. And if you had some more complex geometry, then it would also bend that. So in my opinion, this is pretty cool. I can also change the angle. That means it will be bent. If I put this to 90, it will be bent like a road or something. If I put this to 360. Oh, what? Oh, well, I probably did not make this long enough. See, the reason why it's not coming together right here is because if we deactivate this, oh, if this was to not be bent, like this, you can see it's not, the plane doesn't quite fit exactly in the box, so that's why it's not coming together completely. But if they were to be exactly the same size, then they would come together. Change the angle, and you can like make a cone or some very cool things. I'm getting very dizzy looking at this. Holy cow. But that's basically how you can add modifiers. How are we? Yeah. There are also other modifiers, like the twist. See what that does. Rotate it this direction. Increase it this direction. Decrease here, and then just put it beneath the plane and start twisting it like this, doing it 180 degrees, and there we go. We've now twisted our plane, and that's about it for how you can add modifiers. You can start experimenting with all these other guys. It's very easy to use. Basically just take the modifier and put it beneath and start increasing the strength, and you'll be modifying stuff within seconds. So you can see right here, bam, we have got some spherification. I don't know what it's called. We're making spheres. So that's about it for Deformers in Cinema 4D.
Thank you for watching Edupedia World. Stay tuned for more videos.